Hey guys, I'm Eric.
I'm Grace. We're the Wandering Ravens.
We're a couple of Americans taking advantage of this global pandemic to spend a lot of time inside learning about British culture. We use this YouTube channel to chronicle our British journey. If you'd like to follow along, make sure you subscribe and click the like button as well to help the YouTube algorithm promote this video around the internet. In response to Thursday's video, where we reacted to a Reddit thread, if you haven't seen it yet, link down in the description, a lot of you sent us other Reddit threads that you thought that we should respond to. And one that really stood out to us was this: what is one thing you'd like to ask people from the UK?
We thought this would be a good test of our own British knowledge to see how many of these questions we can answer. If the question is too difficult and we are stumped, we will then pass the question off to you,
our dear subscribers. All right, let's go through these questions. First up, one of my coworkers is British. My first week here, he was super friendly, and then he asked me if I'd like him to bake me a cup of tea. I politely declined, and he has been cold and standoffish with me ever since. Did I violate some sort of sacred right or something by refusing this man's tea?
How can you refuse a cup of tea? This is my question. Anytime anyone asks me, do you want a cup of tea?
You always say yes?
I always say yes.
You want all the tea?
I want all of the tea.
Even if you're unconscious?
If I'm unconscious, wake me up and give me the tea.
If I am unconscious and you have made some tea, wake me up. I will want that tea.
So, based on what you know about the UK, did he violate something?
I haven't heard that this is like an official rule, but I do know that British people are very fond of their tea. And they're always making tea and having tea. And so maybe it's sort of like a social, like a bonding thing?
I'm assuming that in this situation, there was something else going on. Maybe she rudely rejected the tea.
She said politely, but there could also just been some cultural misunderstanding. To Americans, our definition of polite may slightly differ.
To politely decline something in the UK, she would have said something along the lines of, "No, thank you. I'm so sorry. So sorry.
I'm okay right now."
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry. I'll make one for you though.
Whereas given that this person was likely American, she probably said, no thanks. Did we get this answer right? Let us know. If we got it wrong, let us know that as well.
Spaniard here, can you behave when you come down here, please?
Okay, similar to how Americans abroad have a bad reputation, Brits abroad have a really bad reputation as well.
Is this
especially
true?
In Spain, yeah.
I've not actually heard this before.
That's when we were living in France, we heard a number of French people, or I guess I heard a number of French people talk about Brits abroad in a very derogatory sense. Though, now that I think about it, I didn't hear them talk about even Brits at home in a positive sense. So we'll pass this question off to you. Why do you think it is that when Brits go on holiday, they see it as an excuse to let loose?
We're not in any way accusing you, because Americans do the same thing.
Yeah.
Although the Americans are not leaving the manners behind, for they never had any to begin with.
This is true. Americans are just very consistent and consistently act American no matter where they are. But there does seem to be a trend with British tourists where, you know, they would be very polite and acting British at home, but then in another country they tend to forego those things. How do you spend your one day of sunshine each year? Is it considered a holiday? Based on what we've heard from all of our British friends, you spend it getting sunburned.
And then moaning about the sunburn for the rest of the year. Is it true that each city or county has its own accent?
Based on what I understand about the UK and what we've learned, I would say that each county would have a difference in accent, a slight difference in accent, and depending on the city, there's differences in accent. So you have some cities that are very culturally unique, and they have a very strong dialect and accent, but then you have other cities which culturally are very similar, and so the dialect or accent doesn't really change between the two.
We were not prepared for this the first time we went to the UK. All of the just regional variations of British accents.
For example, we've had Brits correct us on the pronunciation of shire, the word shire, at the end of counties, and depending on where you are in the UK, you pronounce it sheer or sure. There's quite a few situations we've encountered where we'll say, you know, Staffordshire, and then another Brit will say, no, that's wrong, it's Staffordshire. And they're actually unaware of the regional difference in how sheer is pronounced. So it's not just us that drastically underestimated the amount of accents and dialects in the UK. It seems that even some British people don't realize the variety of accents that there are. Which, speaking of accents, we do want to ask you guys a question. There's a video that's been requested for us to make, which is us reacting to British accents, different accents. So if that's a video that you think we should make, do let us know down in the comments and share a list of the accents you think we should include.
Oh, I love it. I feel so cozy. We're gonna have soup for lunch.
In case you guys are hearing feedback on the mic, it is pouring rain outside right now. You all right?
How would Brits respond to this?
Something like, all right?
All right.
Yeah, you?
This is a really funny one because when we first went to the UK, we had no idea what the proper response was for this. Because this is not a greeting that you would have in the States. I've never heard anyone say, you all right, as a greeting. So the first few times that people said it to us, we were like, yes?
How do we respond?
What do we say? Do we say, yes, I'm fine, thanks? Or do we just say, yep?
Is this a regional thing in the UK? So does everyone in the UK, including Northern Irish, Welsh, Scottish, north of England, south of England, everyone say, you all right? Or is it a regional thing? So maybe just Midlands.
Yeah, we did hear this one a lot in the Midlands, but I can't recall if we've heard it elsewhere. Like in London, for example, I don't remember ever hearing, you all right?
Same.
But that could be because everyone just said, you got a problem? And people are gonna think I hate London. I don't hate London, I liked London. Controversial, I know. Any luck catching them swans then?
This is one that actually stumps me.
I'm not exactly sure what this means. Are they talking about like literal swans? Like the queen swans?
Yeah, the queen owns all the swans or something like that, right?
I believe that's what I've heard.
I didn't know people were trying to catch them. We are stumped, so we are gonna pass this question off to you guys, our dear British subscribers. Any luck catching them swans then?
You did a good job.
Thank you.
That's
Is it improving?
The first time I think you've done an okay job.
They keep telling me to leave the accents to you, but I'm gonna keep trying until I get it. How realistic is the In-Betweeners?
I'm gonna say something potentially scandalous.
Go ahead.
I hope it's not realistic, because the In-Betweeners is gross.
We did try watching the In-Betweeners, and it was not our kind of comedy, I'm sorry.
No, it was just way too crass.
It struck us as very American, the kind of humor that it was, which is to say, not very intelligent and kind of gross.
People are gonna be like, crass, that's rich coming from you Americans, but we don't watch crass American movies either. Yeah.
James Franco, Seth Rogen.
And them together especially. Avoid, avoid, avoid.
When it comes to British TV, we really like Only Fools and Horses, The Windsors, The League of Gentlemen, Fawlty Towers,
Yes.
Blackadder, those more witty shows. There's a lot more wordplay, less poop play going on. You who have experience, how realistic is the In-Betweeners? You guys let us know.
Is the healthcare system really that great? In the US, those against universal healthcare talk about the long lines, the lack in research and development, and other problems that develop as a result of universal healthcare. What is your experience?
In America, we really only hear about the NHS through politicians. So they either paint it in a brilliant promised land sort of light without any problems, or they paint it as the worst thing that could possibly ever happen. So there's not a lot of accurate portrayals of the NHS in the United States. Based on our own experience in the UK and talking with British people, it sounds like the NHS is not really a partisan issue. People on both sides of the political spectrum seem to support the NHS based on the ones that we've talked with.
Yeah, I think every single Brit we've ever talked with has said good things, positive things about the NHS.
And another thing that surprised us was talking to Brits and hearing them say things like, oh, I am so happy to be funding the NHS with my tax money. I think I should pay more tax money to the NHS.
Yeah, a lot of people are very willing to pay tax money towards this universal healthcare, the NHS. Whereas in the States, we could never get everyone on board with higher taxes for universal healthcare.
As you know, it's kind of in our blood as Americans to hate taxes of every kind. So yeah, hearing people speak positively of taxation was kind of a surprising thing for us. But we're gonna pass this on to you because you're the ones with experience with the NHS. We have not experienced it for ourselves. Is the hype real? What is your experience like? And what are some of the pros and cons? Because obviously there's a lot of pros. I know there's lots of pros to it, but what are some of the accurate cons of the NHS system? If you have time, educate us.
Why are sausages called bangers?
This one I know the answer to. Based off of comments that we've gotten on other videos, back during World War II, there was a meat shortage in the UK due to the rationing, and so when it came to making sausages, they substituted meat for other things, other fillers, maybe oats or bran, stuff like that. And so these other substances, if you cooked them in a pan, would swell up and explode. And so the sausages, when you're cooking sausages, they would make an exploding sound.
They would split and make a loud noise or something.
Something like that.
Sausages sometimes split.
Yeah, and so they were called bangers because they made a bang when you cooked them. Did I get it right? How often do you actually have a full English breakfast? Because despite how much I hear, justifiably, about the unhealthy eating habits of Americans, that shit is bananas.
No, it's not. It's beans, mushrooms, fried tomatoes, toast, eggs.
Blood sausage?
Yeah. This is one that I'm curious about too. Like, how often does the average Brit have a full English breakfast? Is that something you would make at home yourself, or do you always go out to eat?
Yeah.
Because I've seen it on menus at like cafes and things like that, but I didn't know if that's something you actually made at home. And also, do you agree with this person's sentiment that they think it's horribly unhealthy?
Or do you think it is healthy?
The key to a long British life.
Is that the secret to the Queen's longevity, is she eats a full English every morning? Or is the secret to her longevity that she doesn't eat a full English? Real quick, if you enjoyed this YouTube channel and you want to help us make better videos while at the same time getting access to even more content, consider joining our Patreon. As a member of our Patreon community, you will get access to 3 additional videos every week. So if that is something that speaks to you and calls to your heart, link in the description below.
And speaking of Patreon, a huge thank you to Andrew McHenry and Alan Hughes, our chuffed virtuosos. We really appreciate your guys' support, and in the words of our current home country, Dankeschön.
Again, I'm Eric.
And I'm Grace.
We're the Wandering Ravens.
And we'll see you in the next video.
Auf Wiedersehen.